I love great conversations. Hi, my name is Angel Jones. Thank you for joining me on 12-minute convos where I help you create a brand of your own unique, real self. Listen in as I have conversations with amazing people from all over the world. Good afternoon, Darren McDuffie. How are you going on this wonderful, beautiful afternoon?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, sure. It's a great pleasure to connect with you, my friend. What part of the world are you in right now?
I am in Davie, Florida, which is right outside of Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, sweet. You're just 3.5 hours away from us.
Oh, where are you? Where are you?
I'm in Trinidad.
Oh, okay. I got a guy that I work with. He's from the Trinidad area as well.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, a few people that I work with are from Trinidad.
Well, that's intriguing. So tell us, where do you work?
I work with a company. I'm not going to say the name,
Okay,
but
cool.
we work with the prison system. So we provide products for prisoners to be able to communicate with other people. So that's what I do.
Yeah. So that's a bit scary. So just to clarify, is it to connect with prisoners outside of the prison cell or inside the prison?
To connect with family. So let's say they
Makes
want
sense.
to transfer money. Prisoners have to have money to be able to buy stuff and also to be able to communicate. So we connect prisoners on the people outside. They have loved ones. They want to communicate with them, and that's what we help them do.
Okay. Wow,
Yep.
That sounds like another podcast. I'll leave it alone, right? So which of your talents is responsible for us connecting at this time?
I believe you might have saw one of my videos. I speak a lot about consciousness. I started out in health, and I was a fitness instructor. I had my training. Fitness trainer, so to speak. And from that, I kind of morphed into something else just simply because I felt like there was something that I didn't know. And I think people go in stages. I don't think that we are made as human beings to be able to stay in one aspect of our lives. For instance, just like you go to one job and you're supposed to work that one job for 20 years. I just think that as a human, we are multifaceted people and that we begin to get bored when we are compounded, so to speak. We're made to expand. And that's what exactly happened to me. I was expanding at a really rapid rate. And I didn't want to be in a box anymore and just do health and fitness. I felt like I was learning a lot more, and it became more of a consciousness thing. And that's what I tell people. I think all of this stuff that we are encountering in our lives is intertwined. And for me, it started with health, and then it kind of progressed into what I'm doing now, which is talking to people more about energy and how energy affects our lives and how you can learn to manipulate energy, because that's what you are here to do. And a lot of people don't understand that.
That's intriguing. Wow. So how many years have you been how many years did you when did it change then? My apologies. I'm excited. When did it change? So you acknowledging it.
I started in 2005, and actually the catalyst for that was my mother's passing away. My mother passed away from breast cancer. And I remember going into her hospital room and seeing her, and she wasn't breathing. And I said at that moment, I said, God, universe, spirit, whatever people out there believe in, I said, what is it that I didn't know? And I began to be more open to a lot of things. I had been in the pharmaceutical industry where I was primarily selling drugs or visiting doctors. And I always thought that there was another side to that, because I began to see another side. But I didn't know what was out there. And I think for me, when my mom passed away, that was the catalyst for me to open the door to be open to more things. And what happened was there was a book that came into my life. And I tell people this is a book by Kevin Trudeau called Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. And it happened soon as I went back after knowing that my mom had passed away. I went back to her house. And I sat on the couch and I saw the commercial on TV, and I said, this has got to be something that I need to pay attention to. And I bought the book, kind of read the book cover to cover. And then from there, I was kind of out of shape. I had played a really good basketball career. I played college and semi-pro. And I began being out of shape. I was 40, 50 pounds overweight. And that was the catalyst for me to get back in shape. And then I got back in shape. I started going to personal training classes, figured out how to train my own body, and then I started a business, a boot camp business where I was helping women lose weight. But I noticed that no matter what I did with women, no matter how much exercise I gave them, they weren't losing weight, some of them. So there was something I didn't know, and that got me into more health related issues, thyroid, all kinds of stuff, learning about natural health. And then within the last, I think, year or two or so, I underwent something that really changed me from a spiritual perspective. I was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning for almost a year and a half, and I'm like, what is going on? Like there's something, and the silence in the house during that time was very deafening. I know there was something my spirit was telling me, but I didn't want to listen. And I started with a series of events that happened to me, and then I began listening more and more. And then what I was told was that there was more I needed to learn. There was more about energy and manipulating energy, and that we create our own illnesses. I didn't know why, but a lot of things began being open to me. And I remember reading a book by Neale Donald Walsh called Conversations with God. It's a very good book. And that book opened me up to a whole nother dimension.
Well, Darren, let's dive deeper and let's switch gears for a moment now, and let me invite you into my time machine that is surrounded with beautiful, warm, blue Caribbean water. I'd like to know, what is your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory was going to Head Start. I attended Head Start, and me and my cousin attended that together. And I don't know how our moms worked this out, but we are actually 2 weeks apart. We're the same age, and we were born the same month. So I don't know how that actually worked out. I never had a brother. I had a sister, but I consider my cousin my brother just simply because we're so close. And I remember us attending Head Start, and I remember this girl that I used to like in Head Start. I still remember to this day. And I was so in love with this girl, and just going through Head Start, and I had some learn things that I was a slow learner when I was in Head Start as a kid. I was a slow learner all the way up to third grade. I had issues learning my colors and learning my numbers. And I remember my first year in third grade, at the end of the year, I could have gone on, but my mom chose to let me repeat the third grade. And I tell people that all the time, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me. But that's my earliest memory of just attending Head Start and meeting all the kids. And I was really close with my teachers. So that was the thing that I remember the most.
Why do you think this memory is so clear?
Because I think for me as a kid starting out, it was a time for me of novelty. Like when you're a kid, everything is new, and you don't recognize what you're going through, or you're going through it at that time, but you don't realize how it's going to shape you when you become older. And that's why I tell people, I was doing a seminar last year, and this woman, we were talking, and this woman came up to me after the seminar, and she said, you know what? I don't know why I came, but I came, and I was really glad that you told a story about staying back in third grade. Because she said, you know, I'm thinking about keeping my daughter back. And I said, you know what? I said, for me, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. But I think that was a catalyst for me personally to have this hurdle I had to jump over. And now I can look back on it and say, you know what? My mom did this, but somewhere in the cards, it was supposed to happen to me for me to be able to speak on this later on in my life, to let other people know as an inspiration. And that's what I consider myself, a person who inspires others. And for a long time, I ran from that. But my videos and the things that I'm doing now are inspiring people to go and look for their own consciousness and not believe what everybody's saying to them.
If we fast forward to when you were 12, Darren, what was your favorite song?
If I fast forward when I was 12, man, I'm kind of an old school guy, because I remember my mom used to play the records, and I would take her records and play them. I think the record that I played the most when I was that age was Evelyn Champagne King, Love. And I just saw it on YouTube. That's so funny before this interview. It's a song called Love Come Down. Love Come Down. But I remember that song when I was young, and I remember placing it on a record player at my grandmother's house and listening to it over and over again.
That's amazing. All right, Darren. Well, we've arrived at our destination, but before we get off of this time machine, there's a small declaration form. So it's yes or no, possibly a bit more. We're going to move pretty quickly here, Darren. Are you ready?
Yes.
Darren, have you chosen someone to pass on your skills to?
Not as of yet.
Are you married?
I am not.
Do you have children?
I do not.
Do you believe in God?
I do.
Do you have an inner circle of friends?
Yes.
Do you watch TV for more than 3 hours a day?
No.
How about 3 hours a week?
Maybe.
What about screen time, the phone and the computer? Is it more than 8 or less than 8 hours a day?
About more than 8, because I spend a great deal with my job, with the phones and computers. So yeah, it would be more than 8.
Darren, if you had to share with us a statement that represents who you are, your own unique real statement, what would you say that is?
I would say no soul escapes here without growth. We're all here for growth, and your soul is constantly pushing you towards expansion.
Darren McDuffie, this was a great pleasure. Before you leave, is there anything you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
What I would say to the audience out there is everybody makes their own truth, and that's what I found out. So whatever you believe will always be your truth. But I would encourage people to start seeking things outside themselves, start paying attention, start spending time with people who aren't like you, and see how they live, see what they aspire to be, see how they think. Because I think we get comfortable with, and to be uncomfortable, for me, is true growth. Hang around with different people, get a different skill set, think about things that you haven't done. When you're doing this stuff, it all comes back to, like I said, my statement all comes back to the soul's growth, and the soul wants to grow. It is within us, within, I would say, our ego, that we want to stay encapsulated into one little spot. But your soul wants to experience different things, and that's why you're here.
Darren McDuffie, hey, great pleasure. Thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. Stay tuned for more from our advertisers.
Diabetes is a mountain pandemic. It's a disease that's not acute but chronic. Similar to this rhyming method, I have simplified the definition, the signs and symptoms, and the complications of diabetes for both adults and children in my books, Poems for Patients, A Focus on Diabetes, and The ABCs of Diabetes for Children. These books are available on Amazon.com, and for more information, you can visit my website, poemsbyaj.com. That's poemsbyaj.com.